present moment. It seems like a hackneyed or constantly discussed topic. It's becoming more and more popular, thank God, that people are focused on the present moment and what it means to be in the present moment. These great books, these great teachers and authors like Eckhart Tolle, Dr. Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra, all these great teachers are talking about the same thing because it's that important. To me, I think it's where all the growth is. The unknown is where the growth is. In the present moment, if it's unknown to you, if it's something that you find strange or simple or so simplistic that it doesn't deserve your attention, I'm here to tell you, you're wrong. This is where your attention should spend most of its time. You should think about times when you're out of the present moment and how to get back to it. Because you'll find that life can take you along this kind of chronological path where, it's linear time, where it lives, past and future. The now doesn't live there. The now only lives in one moment. I often think about it as like a cross. And the Now-ist symbol from my book, The Now-ist, the cover of the book is the symbol. The Now-ist symbol is in the shape of a cross. You have linear time and you have divine time. Linear time is chronological. Divine time is up and down. It's vertical time. So when you take linear time and you cross it with divine time, that spot right in the middle where they meet is the now. When you take your presence and your awareness and you focus on divinity, on your presence, on your moments in that moment, the presence that lives in oneness and no time, that's when you've taken linear time, you've crossed it with divine time or awareness. When those two intersect, that's the now. And that's what it means to live in the present moment. To take all your day, your busy schedule, your life, your history, your past, your future, and dissolve them and take a breath and live in one moment of awareness, of awakening, of a flash of enlightenment like I had. Years ago, I had a satori, it's called a flash of enlightenment. In the Zen tradition, they call it a satori or a satori. And when I had that experience, the now came crushing into my world in such a dramatic and dynamic way that it changed my life forever. It's about 6 years ago that experience happened to me, and I'm here to be of service to you, to express from my heart and my soul what I believe is the great secret to life. And present moment awareness is the key. When you live in this moment, all your power is gained in that moment. If you focus on what you want instead of what you don't want in that moment, you will attract it. You'll use your imagination to bring that feeling into your life, the peace that you can feel in that moment, in that oneness. As I've said before in my other talks and other videos and other presentations to people, when you're in the now, you've won. N-O-W spelled backwards is W-O-N. When you're in the now, you have won. Most people spend their time with erroneous thinking. They'll think about what they don't want. They'll think about it not working out. They'll have doubt. All these things stress has to live in this chronological time. It has to be a place where you don't want to be. You wish you were dealing with your childhood issues, or you're worried about what's going to happen in the future. You live in this space of stress and fear and worry. And there's no place for time in the now. The now can only live in one moment. There's just now. As everything that's ever happened to your life. Think about it. Ask yourself the question. Everything that's ever happened to you in your life has happened in a now moment. Isn't that true? When you think about it, everything that ever happened to you in your life happened in the now. So there's the great secret. It's so simple. It's been staring you in the face your whole life, but it's so simple, it's so obvious that most people glaze over it. It's almost like you meet a friend on the street and you walk up to this friend and you've met them many, many times before, but you can't remember their name. And then they walk past you in the street again another day. You still can't remember their name. They're always, they're familiar, they're there, but you kind of just pass back and forth and you think, man, I know that person. Wish I could remember their name. But now it's kind of like that. It's just like this casual thing that we just kind of glaze over. We think, oh yeah, it was just another moment and another moment. But the problem is that moment is a gift to you. If you have awareness, if you take your chronological time in your life and your schedule and your daily living and you cross it with awareness, you intersect those two, there's the now, because your awareness gives you peace. The now has no time. The past and the future need time. The now is only this moment. There's no time, there's no chronological time in the now. When you live in that moment, that's when you have the power. That's when you have the energy and the source energy from which you came from. That's why I say it's divine time. It lives linearly. Linearly is chronological time. Divine time lives vertically. It lives vertically. Divine time is vertical. Chronological time is linear. When you cross those two, that's the now. And when you can live in that moment, you have an opportunity to have more peace, to live with more joy, to bring abundance into your life because you're not worrying about time. Most people think that we are a physical being having a spiritual experience on this planet. And it's actually the reverse. I've learned from many great teachers that the reverse is true. We're not physical beings having spiritual experiences. We're spiritual beings having temporary physical experiences. And that's the great error, I think, in people's thinking. The erroneous thought that, this is all very temporary, as I think it was Wordsworth said, we're all food for worms. And, what's the point of this? There's so many great philosophers that have gone through life and, had information and teachings and philosophies about the contrary. Well, we are spiritual beings having a temporary physical experience. That's the key. When you realize that and you live in that spirit and you know that that's the truth of your being and your existence, there's a power in that because there's something greater, there's something more, there's something more powerful than that. When you have that power to realize that, there's the now, right there in that moment, realizing that this spirit, this energy that I come from, this source energy that I came from, that we were all created from, there's the power. It's right there in this moment. Dr. Wayne Dyer has said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And that is a huge clue to you. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change, as Dr. Wayne says. That is your clue to change your thinking, to change the way the world is affecting you. And when you change that, your life can change because thoughts are things. As you think, so you create, so you become. They will manifest what you're thinking about. And more importantly, what you're feeling about. What are you feeling about the situation? What kind of joy can you bring to it? Can you have hope instead of doubt? Instead of fear, can you bring love? St. Francis of Assisi, the brilliant saint, Catholic saint, the patron saint of animals, St. Francis of Assisi, his great prayer talks about, where there is fear, let me bring love. So many parts of that beautiful poem talk about a technology of changing, like an alchemist, like that beautiful book that Paulo Coelho wrote, The Alchemist, which talked about turning base metal into gold. That is a story about the now. That is one of the best stories I've ever read in my life, period, bar none. I understand it's the 5th most published book in the world, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. The book is so resoundingly the now. I can't think of another story more powerful to teach us about living in the present moment. Santiago goes off to find his personal legend, and at the end of his searching and end of his journeying and all these crazy things happen to him, he's sent back to the place he started, and his treasure was with him all the time. In that altar was the gold that he had been searching for his whole life. He had to go all the way to Egypt only to learn that back here in the now, in the present moment where his inspiration, his satori occurred, was right there where he began. And I offer it up to you, my friend. The present moment, that's your treasure. You are the gift you've been waiting for. Everything you've ever wanted is here, now. If you can just focus on it, believe in it, have love with it. Joy and peace and abundance are all in this moment. If you choose to connect to them and you believe it and you feel it and you imagine it, it will be.